morning, friends. It's your friend Russell K coming to you live from our Myrtle Beach, South Carolina location. It's time for another edition of the Artist Spotlight Show. Now, on the show this morning, we have a record label, LTJ. Lenny is in the house, the owner of LTJ record label. So we're so excited to have him on our show this morning. We're going to find out about the record label. We're going to talk about music, the industry, how he got started. What are some of the roadblocks that he's seeing with being part of the record label? What are some of the roadblocks that he's encountering? So we'll find out this and much more. Again, our show is being brought to you this morning by Music Dreams USA Radio Worldwide, Table and Mike Productions, and Biker Bay Barber and Company. Again, good morning. It's your friend Russell K. If you're an upcoming aspiring artist looking to get your name out there, or if you're looking for exposure, you found us. Send your information and your request to info.musicdreamsusa@gmail.com. And now, without any further ado delay, let's invite our special guest to the show. Lenny, my friend, good morning. How are you?
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, yeah, it's great to have you as well. And so let's start off our show this morning. Can you maybe share with our the people are watching, will be watching later. Can you share how you got into the music industry? What was one of your biggest influencers, and where are you right now with that journey?
Wow, that's amazing. It's an amazing journey, one that I never saw coming, really, because I've always liked music. I love music, and when I was younger, I would write poems all the time and just put them away. And I developed a whole folder of poems, basically. And one thing that kept me going and to appreciate really music and all music is really my eighth grade music teacher. One thing he said that stuck with me was, you may not like all music, but you should see all music as a form of art and really appreciate the artists for the creation that they've created. So I try to stay very open-minded to all types of music, from hip hop to bluegrass. Do I listen to that all the time? No, but it's an art form that I appreciate. And you can be inspired by any music or any genre, really, if you open your mind to it. So basically, from all that, as I got older, I'm a little seasoned. I retired back in 2022, and 2 years before retiring, as a middle-aged, upper middle-aged man, you start wondering, what am I going to do after I retire? And one of my friend Russell, we used to just brainstorm about things. And I told him my first song I wrote was Hindsight. And I let him listen to it. And he said, you may be able to do this. And that one word that, hey, you should think about this. I'm like, wow, maybe I have something I can do when I retire. So I took that one song and created it and had it brought to life by a great singer. And from that point on, today, in 5-6 years, I've accumulated over 400 songs that I've written and actually arranged, and had some great artists bring them to life. So I've had maybe 230 songs out there in rotation, out there playing in different platforms, malls, airports, different radio stations in the UK and internationally. So it's been a journey that I didn't see coming. So I say something that I heard that my grandmother always say, baby, you got to build a bridge as you cross it. So I guess I've been building that bridge as I've crossed it. And I've really been able to connect with some great artists that are super. And the only challenge is basically seeing these great artists and you're saying, you should be in front of a stage, you should be on the radio, you should be these places. But out there in the real world, it's a big ocean. And if you don't have the right connections or distribution or whatever the case may be, it's very challenging and discouraging for the artists. So the guys and the ladies that I use to bring my music to life, I try to keep them encouraged by saying, you're just as good as anybody else out there. It's just a matter of getting you consecrated and getting someone that's actually know who you are. So basically, some of my job is just consulting and keeping them uplifted and letting them know just how great they are, because they are great. I'm not just saying that because they song my music and everything. But basically, they're great artists, and it's sad. I just want them to actually be um, just someone to actually hear their music and see just how great they are. I get a kind of passion when I talk about them because they're great singers. I mean, they're great.
Well, let's talk about those artists you're referring to. This opportunity for your label to shine and to bring light to those artists, so people are watching now.
Mhm.
Who are they?
Yeah, basically, I have like 7 or 8 different artists. One's name is Nolo. Nolo is a young man. He's 28 years old, and he's a multi-talented. Basically, he can. This might like he's multi-talented. He can sing jazz, rock, all the different type things out there. And I just want someone to just him to um get discovered. And also there's also J Cog. She's a singer. I call her a cross between Madonna and Adele because she's so great with her style. She's like a combination of those two together. And I have a young lady out of the UK. Her name is Ola. Ola she's a songstress. She takes songs and make it sound like an angel is singing them. And she's done a whole album for me also. Then I have a young man named Rocky Sam. He's out of South Africa, and he's done at least 20 songs for me or more. And he's such a great artist. And I talk to him a lot of the time because and actually Rocky he's bound to a wheelchair. And he said, "Hey, Lenny, no one wants to see someone in a wheelchair sing." And I said, "No, really, they want to see you because it's not about your disability; it's about what you've overcome." So he's done
Mhm.
basically a lot of songs for me. He's out of South Africa. I have a young man named Sura. He's out of India. Great. It's like he's like the second coming of David Bolton. Basically, he's such a great singer and everything. I've done at least 15 songs with him, and I have so many others that I just mentioning some of the few that I have. I have a young male rapper called Tony Tiggs. He's done at least 15 songs for me, basically bringing them to life. Great songstress. And I also just brought on a young man named Facundo. He's out of Argentina, and we're getting into the Spanish genre area, and he's done 4 songs for me already. And Facundo, he's a like 27-year-old young man. He's passionate about his music, and you're gonna hear about him shortly because
Awesome.
every song he does for me, he's doing an English version and he's also doing a Spanish version. So basically, to see him take my English version and convert it to Spanish, it's amazing how he keeps the same keys, the same tone, same rhythm and cadence. It sounds just like the original English song, but it's in Spanish. And something about Spanish, it sounds so cool when he sings it in Spanish. So that's just a short list of the singers that I have on my list, and I'm adding more as I go along and everything. What they do, they keep me young and fresh and up to date.
There you go.
Young singers, because and it keeps me to stay open minded about as I direct them and tell them and manage them and do the music. I let them. I want them to always be who they are. So I keep an open mind about when I send them something about the arrangement or about this or about that. We'll get on the phone and I'll say, keep your spirit in it. Just keep my spirit in also, basically. So I call it a collaboration more so than me managing them or producing them, because without their talents that they already have, there's no way my music would sound as good as I think it does.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I like hearing you talk about Spanish music because in my opinion, with you being a record label and a music professional, in my opinion, there's a lot more opportunities for shows like what we do to get out there and to tap into that market. And my girlfriend is part owner of Music Dreams USA Radio. Her name is DJ Patty C,
Okay.
and she's from Peru. So she's watching right now. Hey, boss, how are you? Just gave you a plug. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, she's always mentioned to me, you know, we need to look into the Spanish community There's a lot of good music out there that's not getting played. What can we do to get out there? Fast forward, here comes the ever so popular Artist Spotlight show that's really taken off this year. And we're really, really focusing on the areas of what we can do to reach those audiences, to reach those markets, to reach those artists. I mean, and this is a question I want to share with you here in a minute. Here's my take on this. There's a lot of artists out there right now that are so talented, but they either don't have the money, they don't have the knowledge, or they don't know where to go to get their name out there, their talents and their music. And that's what the Artist Spotlight show is all about. We want to get out there. We want to find those people. We want to find those artists to get them the exposure they need so that other people can find out about them. I just heard you say in the beginning of the interview, you're in a big ocean right now, right? I mean, there's so many different angles you're getting hit by. Once you get in the music industry, it's a big ocean. And, as you mentioned, with being an owner of a record label, you can get lost pretty quickly.
Yes.
And so my question to you is this: what can we do to help those artists to get exposure, to get in front of you, a record label, say, hey, listen, my name is Russell K. This is what I sing. Here's an example of what I can do. I mean, I know you probably get hit with a lot of different people. So this will be a two-part question for you. The first part of it is, as I mentioned, how do we get in front of those people to bring them to you? And secondly, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're in the music industry and you got people, and this is no disrespect as I say this, you got people who think that, they're very talented, but in reality, it's not meant for them to do it.
Right.
How do you deal with artists like that? And so again, how do we get them in front of you, and how do you break into somebody? Well, how do you handle that?
I look at that, as they say in sports, I look for that it factor, because some folks have that it factor that just resonate with people and with me. And I always try to trust myself and trust my view on them in things. It's almost like if someone has the potential to be a star, it's something different about them, in my opinion. You'll feel it. And it may not be the best, what you call the best singer per se, but they have that character in their voice, or there's something about them that it's a little different. And and I try to see, okay, this has a lot of potential because they're different, they're up to date, but they're still a little different. And the biggest thing about marketing, to have that differentiality there, you gotta be able to separate yourself and not be like everybody else in a way. And the only way you cannot be like everybody else, just be yourself. And I think if you be yourself and bring your spirit to it, if it stands out, it stands out. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I think a lot of time people want to sound like trendy or sound like what's already selling. But if you sound like what's already selling, a lot of times people are going to say, I've heard that before. Basically, I always say I try to encourage them to believe in themselves and be themselves. And I use sometimes a little firm with them a lot of times too. Even with the things that I have used, I say, hey, we want to put the best product out there. So you might want to not hold on to that. Know that as long as you did, not do that, or whatever the case may be. But I never stop them from being who they are, because that's what's going to sustain them, being who they are. So I said, I guess the biggest thing would be being who you are and come up with a strategy that works for you. And the trend right now is mainly direct to fans. Basically, what does that mean? Is the basics of that is basically you've got to create your own mailing list and start with that. That's the foundation. Create your own mailing list, get to know your fans, and as they say with the movie Field of Dreams, build it and they'll come. So just hold on to your dream and just let people be out there. And everyone's not going to like what you have, because you're not for everybody. You're for those super fans, those people that really can connect with you. You're looking for that connection, that sustainable connection. So if you think along those lines of having confidence in yourself, and just be who you are and create connections. That's what marketing today is all about.
Let me ask you
I
this.
hope I hope I kind
Oh, no, you did. Yeah. Thank you for answering that. I appreciate you doing that. Walk me through the process. So, okay, I'm an artist coming to you. I heard about you and I feel like I got the talent. Walk me through the process of where I start and what I can do to impress you, hopefully to get signed to your label. So kind of walk us through that. What does that look like?
like you say, you get a lot of people coming and sending you things. So I try to take a day where I can just sit back and listen to the actual what they send me, basically, and I'll tell them just send me 3 or 4 of maybe 5 examples, basically, because one thing can sound great, but I look for consistency, basically. So I need to see a sample about 5 things that you've done: a slow song, fast song. But if your style is just slow, then that if you're just a ballad person, that's what you are. So, but I still need to see if you're just a ballad person, send me at least 5 ballads so I can check out the consistency, see that it factors in each one of them, where you got lucky on one or whatever the case may be. So, and I also trust my ear also, but I keep an open mind too, because as I get music in, I'm like, wow, that's different. That's nice. Never thought about it that way before. So, and I try to stay open minded myself and not just be a one trick pony myself. As you get older, you can get set in your ways. And like I told you earlier, we were just talking offline. The singers keep me young because it keeps my mind open to the new things that are out there and what's trending and all those things. So that's pretty much the basics of how I decide who can come aboard, and also if they are available. If you're going to represent yourself, you have to represent yourself in a professional way. You are a business. If you are a business, conduct yourself in that way. A lot of singers think that it's like they've made it already. No, you haven't made it yet. We're starting this journey, and we're going to start together. You have to be available and open-minded, and not have an ego to the point where if I do suggest something, think about it, basically. And I was talking to Nolo one day, and I emailed him and said, Nolo, I'm so glad that you have no ego about the changes I asked you to make on the song. And he said, no, sir, I want to actually put out the best product. And that relationship between him changed because he said that, because it wasn't like I was going to insult him. He's going to take it as an insult. He opens to listen to it. Jay Cog, she's the same way. She said, let me hear how you think. What do you think about this? And I'll tell her this, and we go back and forth. We collaborate on things. All the singers that I deal with, they're open-minded to growing. I guess that's the thing. Don't get caught up in your own head either. You have to be open to growing too. And a lot of times, as for example, with Nolo, I asked him, I said, Nolo, can you rap a little bit? He said, yeah. And he sent me something, and I was blown away. So I did 6 songs with him, having a piece in the song where he has a little rap section into it. And those things, he's more of a jazzy type rap person, and J Cog and the other singers too, I pushed them by saying, have you rapped before? No, let's try something. This is open their heads up to things also. So it's I say, believe in yourself, but keep an open mind to change, because the change that you may be running from may be the change that's going to take you to the next level.
Let me
Basically,
ask you this. Yeah, let me ask you this. AI. AI is really starting to make a big presence in the music industry.
right.
With you being a record label owner, how do you combat that? And do you like it or you don't like it? And what are maybe some of the things that you can do to overcome that and not have it be a distraction to the music industry?
I think you have to embrace change, and embracing change, you have to know what AI can and cannot do for you. One thing AI cannot do is take away your spirit, take away who you really are. Now, it can assist you in developing things, but if you're a star, AI is going to assist you in being a better star. If you can write, or you can produce or whatever the case may be, AI is going to help you do those things. And what AI is going to do for a lot of people is actually give people more resources at cheaper efficiency, basically. And if you look at it as an assistant and not taking over what you're doing, I think you can use it to your advantage. I haven't gotten into detail of what it's doing. I've heard all the things about AI. Is you can send something through AI and it can make it sound great. Yeah, it can make it do these things, but that's not you. Your spirit is not there. So your spirit is original, pretty much. So don't worry about. I wouldn't worry about it. I just, like I say, believe in yourself and learn technology. Knowledge is power. So always learn, even if you're not using AI, learn AI and see what it can do for you. It may be that one note that may take your song to the next level because you used AI versus not using AI. So don't run from change, embrace it and see what it can do to help you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about LTJ record label. How did you begin, and where are you right now, and what are your plans to move forward?
Well, AI it was first called LTJ Productions Records. Then I was started making videos to go along with the music, which was time consuming and a lot of work. So I said I'll call it LTJ Media Records. So I changed the name, and I've kept that name because it's a media, it's a medium, those type things. But basically that's where I am as far as that side of it. I'm like I said before, I have 200 songs in rotation basically, and then even in that challenge, it's a lot out there. So you just have to put a strategy together. And thank God I met Liam 2 years ago. And Liam, he's my marketing person, and he's done a great job in getting my songs recognized and played in different platforms and venues. So I would say Liam has been a godsend as far as helping me get the music out there. And as I said before, it doesn't matter how good the music is if you can't get it to the ears that listen to it. It's just good music. And that's the frustrating thing about something. You can say, I've got a great hit. Everyone should hear it. But if you don't have the avenues to get it out there, it's just a great song, basically. So having that strategy and having someone that know more than you do about marketing and those type things, and you need a community. You need a community to really get things out there and get things going. It's always been that you need a community for networking, for family, for career, for music. You got to have that community. And so I'm building that community. That's my next phase. Hey, I've got 400 songs. It's a matter of getting that community together and helping new artists bring them to life. And as they bring my song to life, hopefully they'll well introduce themselves to the world, basically. Hopefully it's organic. Hopefully the growth is organic, basically.
I mean, I just heard you say you have over 400 songs. So
Yeah.
my next question to you is going to be, what does your songwriting look like? Is it based on personal experiences? Or I know, and I'm sure you agree with me on this, right? Some artists they have this computer with all these words, and then they take the words and they match it to the melodies of the song. What does your songwriting look like, and how have you become so successful in doing that?
I I get inspired by anything. I could be having a conversation with someone about something and they'll say something. I said, "Can I borrow that?" And I said, "I'm going to make a song about that." And I'll do it that way, or I could be riding in the car and a country song will come on. I say, "Wow, that's great," and it'll put me in that creative mood. And then I'll start thinking of something myself, basically. So I try not to limit myself to one mechanism of being creative because that mechanism might not be available at the time. So basically, I also recognize when I'm the most creative, and that's late at night, like two o'clock or so. So basically, I recognize when that is, and so I like to stay open to being creative anytime, and that's why the greatest thing about my smartphone is if I hear something or something comes to me, mumble out the actual hook. And one of the things I do, first thing I do, I find the hook. I create the hook. I call myself the great hook master, basically.
I love it.
Well, my younger brother said, "You got some bad. You bad at creating hooks." I said, "Yeah, I think creating hooks is my gift, basically." So once I create the hook, I'll create the hook, and I'll mumble the actual lyrics of how I think the flow should go. So I create the hook, sing the hook, and I'll mumble the lyrics because I don't have the lyrics yet. But I have the hook and I have the concept in my head. So I'm mumbling it and I put it on my phone, and then I'll go back and then I'll think of create the lyrics to go along with it. Then I'll match the lyrics to the hook. And most songs there, if you're singing it's a song that's with lyrics, you got maybe a 8 bar, then you got your hook, you got 8 more bars, then you got your hook. Third verse you may have, depending on how many bars you want to run with, basically. So it depends on the song. For a rap song, usually around 16 bars, hook, 16 bars. So you got to have, it's almost like ABC. Once you learn the fundamentals of writing a song, like your ABCs, once you do that, you can write a book. So basically, once you learn the fundamentals or create your own fundamentals of how you create something, then it becomes a little more easier for you, basically. So the hook is my main thing because the hook is what draw people in, basically. They may not know any other words to that song, but they hear that hook and that's what stays with them, that repetition that goes there. So I would say my greatest process is the foundation to me is for me is the hook. And then I'll ask myself, what are you trying to relate to the receiver of this message of the song? So I tap into that. Is it what do you want them to get from the song? Are you trying to tell them about love that's lost, or someone that you want, or you need to motivate someone, or someone has lost a loved one? All kind of things. So what is the motivation behind what this song? And how is this song going to bless the person that listens to it? Basically, because someone could be in a bad mood or something, and they may hear one of my songs and say, "Oh wow, I'm glad I heard that song. It really uplifted me and took me away from all of my bad feelings at the time." So it's just like when I was in 8th grade. I go back to my 8th grade year. We had a teacher, Miss Highsmith, and she taught us college English, and what she taught us was basically you have to be able to consider the actual reader of your message. And I'm also a communications major. So the first thing they said when I got my freshman year was consider the receiver of the message. So that's been consistent throughout my life of how my creativity has been pushed and focused on basically consider the receiver. Because when you consider just what you're saying, yeah, you have the message, but how is it going to affect the listener? So if you stay focused on, I think for me, it works for me to stay focused on the receiver of the message, and then you can direct your passion to that basically. So that's basically my process. So I kind of rambled on, but that's the process.
Oh, no. Thank you for sharing that with us. And let's get back into the music industry.
Right.
What are some, this would be a two-part question for you. The first part of that is, what do you like about the music industry? The second part is, what do you not like about the music industry? And if you give us some examples and what you feel like you would do in either part of those.
Well, what I like about the music industry is it's the music industry. Basically, it's and from the outside, it sounds exciting, and to a layman, pretty much, it sounds exciting, and it sounds like something that you couldn't possibly do because it's so great, per se. But what I've learned is you never say what you can't do until you've tried it, pretty much. So I love that about the industry. It's open for people to listen. It's a free communication, pretty much. What I don't like is there are gatekeepers. It's tough to get into the industry because if as being an indie producer per se, a music label, basically, it's hard to get into the industry because people want to control what you're doing versus you control what you're doing. And being independent, I'm able to control what I'm doing, but there's a trade-off for that also, basically, because the challenge is what we spoke about earlier is actually connecting to the right network to actually get it heard. That's the challenge about it, basically. So I think that answers the second part for you. If not,
Oh, no, that's perfect. So another question would be, since we're talking about the music industry, if there's one thing that you could change in the industry, what would it be and why?
I would probably change how monopolized it is. Pretty much, I think if they could change some laws and not make it so monopolized and those type things, and give people a fair share of their expertise, pretty much in the industry. I would love to change that, and I would love to be an outreach, be a two-way street, pretty much, where they're looking for independent artists like my singers and people and those type things, and just have an avenue for them where they can actually get their things out there, create some sub print, imprints and sub imprints that they support more so than just waiting to see who's trending. So we'll pull them in. Help help the independents get themselves on a level where they can be helpful, so it can be a two-way type of agreement. And I don't think there are enough of those type things where they support the indie. They wait until a person gets actually trending and hot, then they'll go grab them. But what about the ones who need your help? Help develop them, and they can help develop your distribution also. So basically, I wish there was more support down for the independent artists.
I'm glad you brought that up because what you just said is what the Artist Spotlight Show is all about. It's about finding those artists that you just spoke about,
Right.
and helping them and developing them and getting them the exposure. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
About 3 weeks ago, I know that actually, I think we talked about this offline. Austin Hag, an artist from Ohio,
Okay.
all the young guy, all the talent in the world, but he didn't know where to go. He tried some different avenues. It didn't work out for him like he thought it would. And then all of a sudden, his dad one day goes, checks out social media, and we have with Table and Mike Productions, with the lot of podcasts we're in production doing now. His dad saw the ad, told Austin about it. Austin got in contact with us, and we let him know you're in Ohio, but the live recordings are done in Nashville, North Carolina.
Right.
He didn't care. He drove 8 hours to do this show.
Wow.
And he not only knocked the show out of the ballpark, but he sang 3 of his songs.
That's amazing.
And as he was singing those songs, it just made me realize that, we're on to something here, because that's what this show's all about. And fast forward, now we have the record label too, where we now have artists that we can send over to you to evaluate further or even to work with. Your thoughts on what I just said?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's almost like me and you and Liam and your company, we were out there looking for each other, and we finally found each other, basically. So I think it's going to be a great journey going forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's a lot more Austin Hags out there.
Oh,
We have to find them, and I think we're going to. Once the show takes off, and we get the sponsorship, to get us to go out there and to travel and go to places that no one else wants to go to, but we do. I think once that all comes together, I really believe that we have a show that's going to get them the exposure, and it's going to help everybody.
Yeah, and I think sponsorship is one of the major branches that's going to help a lot too.
Yeah. So now that you're a part of Music Dreams USA Radio, what are your expectations, and what do you feel like you can bring to the table to help us to pursue this dream?
Always leave. I'll be optimistic on basically, and what I want basically is to just introduce you guys and bring great talent that would not otherwise be seen or listened to, and give them the opportunity to just, hey, check me out, basically. And I wanted to help encourage those who may be great, but not it's not being reaffirmed, so they may give up on their dreams. I don't want them to do that. I just don't want someone to give up on their dreams. I would say don't quit your day job till the dream becomes a reality and everything. So I always tell people, what you're doing right now is your dream job until you create a better dream job for yourself. So I would say don't quit your resources, cut your resources off that's sustaining you until your career that you really want can sustain you, because that will put more pressure on you to just cut that branch off and say, I'm just going to go full nilly on this. So be realistic, but also be positive about what you're going to do. So I guess I just want to actually get people exposed because they deserve to be exposed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I
Mhm.
mean, there's so much talent out there that we somehow, some way, we need to reach them to let them
Yeah,
know that there's an opportunity out there for them.
right.
Is there anything other than what we spoke about so far? Is there anything that you would like to share with our audience?
Just basically stay open minded to new music and don't get caught in one genre. I think a lot of people, because of culture, what they grew up, where they grew up, those type things, that stay open minded to different music, and you might surprise yourself. You say, "Wow, I like that," and it could be a classical jazz song or a country song, which I have in my catalog. Basically, just stay open minded and listen. As my eighth grade teacher taught us, music is an art. So enjoy the art form, and you may surprise yourself, basically.
What do you think about the artists that are going from one genre to another? You have the Beyoncé's, the Post Malones. They're big stars in pop music. They transition over to country music.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about today's music from a record label
Yeah,
perspective?
I love it. I love it because it shows the versatility. It shows the actual artists that willing to try new things, and it gives the actual genre, the original genre, a different flavor on their wing sauce, as I call it. There's a different type flavor on this wing sauce than you're used to, per se. So I think it opens up the minds of, for example, if you're a country singer, and like I say, you got Nelly has done some stuff with country singers, and then Beyonce tried that and everything. So it brings a little flavor to the genre and everything. It's been going on for years. I can go back to Lionel Richie when he came out with his first song that was a country song type, and everyone like wow, but it resonated in the R&B community. It resonated in the pop and community, in the rock community. So he I won't say he started it, but it's been going on for a while. But it's only been a few that do it, and you know how trends are; they come and go just like styles and everything. But I love it, really, I really do.
Where do you see music going 5 years from now?
Wow. Once we get past the scare of I think it'll normalize back down. And what people love, they love pretty much. So I think it's going to find this level, seek this level, just like water. It's going to seek this level of what people want to listen to, pretty much, because people know good music when they hear it, and people know what they like, and you can tell them what they like a lot, but basically it's up to them pretty much. And I think that's what the gatekeepers are doing, where they're keeping a certain type that and telling you have to be this passive listener, and you this is what you should be listening to, basically. But hopefully in the future, with your mission and our mission now, we can open up those gateways that are somewhat bogged down now.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you more. Absolutely. There's just so much opportunity, and as you mentioned, getting past the AI situation right now, where a lot of artists are really concerned about that.
Yeah,
Just did an interview with.
rightfully so, because I mean, it's so easy and amazing what they can do with AI. I mean, it is. It's there's no denying it basically. So, you have to, as I said before, you have to learn what AI is, what it can do, and see what it can do for you, basically.
Through your illustrious career, you've had over 400 songs, as you mentioned during our interview. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Are there any special moments in your career that really stand out to you? If so, which ones are they, and why do you still remember those memories even today?
Okay, the first song I did was Supernatural, and it was sung by um Phoenix Novell, great singer, indie artist, Phoenix Novell, and she sung that song, and it was the first one that's my first song 5 years ago. And the amazing thing was, I said when I sent it to her, I said she's going to tear this up and change it around and everything, and she sent it back pretty much the same way what I do, I sing it myself. I always tell them I can't sing, but I can sing enough to give you what I'm trying to do. So the way I sung it and everything, and she sent it back and without minor changes to it also based on what she was qualified to do, because she's a experienced singer, artist, writer, and everything. And it was pretty much just how I sent it to her. And it was so great. And I can remember the first time I listened to it, I'm not ashamed to say I cried. I cried because she brought something that to life that I didn't even know could be brought to life. And Phoenix Novell, she's a great independent singer out there. And anyone that have heard of her, Phoenix Novell, she's a great artist. And hopefully she'll be talking to us in the future.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get her on the show. I promise.
Oh, definitely get her. She's great, and she's also an actual professional artist. She can paint, so she's multi-talented. And one thing I like about her, she said she could have been probably been a big time singer now, but she stayed true to herself, because she said, and to me, she's a beautiful young lady and everything. She said someone told her that if you get a nose job, you could be a star. And that was, to me, that was such a mean thing to say to someone. But she took it in. She didn't let it change her. She didn't do that. She's still who she is. She's true to who she is. And I love that about her, because she knows who she is, and she's great. I'd love for you to get her on, because she's a great, talented singer.
Oh yeah, we'll get around. But I want to
Yeah.
make sure I heard what you just said. Did you just tell me live on the air that someone came to her and told her to get a nose job and she would further her career? Did I hear that right?
You're right. Yeah, she said that. I remember her saying that. It hurt me to my heart for someone to tell her that.
That was going to be my next question. What are some of the,
Yeah.
yeah. Why would someone say that? Why would someone say, you need a nose job, you need this, you need that? That's one thing I don't like about the music industry. I'm gonna be straight. I know you're a record label and everything, but
Yeah.
from my perspective, that's one thing I don't like. People are judgmental. They,
Yes.
you have to be a Farrah Fawcett,
Yeah. Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
on stage or whatever.
Mhm.
I've never agreed with that. Our show would never agree with that. If you got the talent, you've got the talent.
Exactly.
No,
Right.
regardless of what you look like, if you got the talent, that talent has a right to be exposed to let other
Right.
people know about it and listen to it and experience that.
Exactly.
So when I heard you say that person told her, well, you need a nose job. Well, that person who told her that is one that needs a nose job. And that person needs to understand talent is not all about looks. It's
Thank
not
you.
about how you look or anything like that. Talent, if you got the, like you said earlier in our interview, right? Did you not tell me that either you've got the talent or you don't have it? If you don't have it, that's okay. Then at least you tried, and
Exactly.
and just do what the good Lord has you to do. I mean, what is your take on that? The music industry is never going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect, but I don't know. What do you think?
It's a copycat. Everything's a copycat. If something is selling, then the other one's going to try the same thing and bring some of the same thing. You look at a car. If you the SUVs, who would have thought SUVs would be the car that someone think about when they buy a car now? Sedans are not selling because SUVs has taken over the trend pretty much, and it's a copycat industry. Everything is a copycat. If one person comes out with a hit, someone else is going to try to come up with a hit similar to that. It's been going on for years. So basically, it closes the minds of the decision makers, or I call the gatekeeper. They develop closed minds and only use what they think is gonna be a big hit, so-called big hit, and anything that falls outside that realm of what they consider may make money, they overlook it. So they're not looking, I think, for a true talent. They're looking for a cookie cutter things that like a cookie cutter. Let's try this over and over and over again until it stops paying off. Then we'll try something else over and over and over again. And in doing that process, you're leaving out all of the great singers that could take them to a higher level if they were open-minded enough to say, hey, we need to be more diverse.
Why do they feel like looks are so important in the music industry? I mean, I've been in the business for a while. I used to work. I worked for Sony Records. Then I went to, did my radio career, and now we're doing this. I never could put my hands around why is there so much focus on looks in the music industry where it should be more focused on the talent. We just talked about it, about the talent that the person has.
Because it's the old adage, sex sell. I think because sex sell, they think that you've got to look a certain way, or whatever the case may be, to sell records. So what you're doing, you're actually selling a persona versus selling the music per se. So in other than focusing on the organic great gifts that a person may have, they want them to look like a supermodel or whatever the case may be, those type things. It's not fair because we are different. So it's all about window dressing, is what I call it, versus looking for you window dressing the car. The car may be a 2-cylinder, can't go but 10 miles an hour, but it looks good. So you see what I'm saying? So I think it's old adage that they think sex always sells, and I wish they would become more open-minded about that. If a person's got talent, they got talent. Let's nurture the talent.
I want to talk to you about Christian music. From a record label perspective, I think Christian music is really important, especially in today's world,
Right.
with just all the craziness going on right now. I'm not taking anything away from the other genres, by the way. I mean, I respect all the music. As you said, respect the art. But I want to talk about Christian music for a minute. From as I mentioned, with you being a record label, what is your take on Christian music, and what can be done to get that more exposure? I think Christian artists, with the exception of a few, I mean, they kind of like stay in their Christian community, and they don't outreach to secular community to get that positive music out to people that need to hear it, not just in the Christian community, but also people who maybe are not in the Christian community, maybe are going through some bad times right now, and they need to hear some music, some good, inspiring music. From a record perspective, label perspective, your thoughts?
Christian music. I grew up in South Carolina, so you grew up in the South. You grew up around that Christian culture, basically. So I've done like about 10 songs, Christian songs. As if a spirit hits me, I've created some songs that I also have a band called Organic Love that I name, and they do Christian music. So basically, I love Christian music because to me it's very uplifting, basically, and it's just something that it's all been a part of me also. So I think it needs an outlet, an actual for young singers, an outlet, because I think if we get more younger Christian artists out there, it will influence the younger individual it needs to, and it could influence pretty much, and give the younger people something else to listen to, because hip hop is not going to inspire you, but so much. But you need that genuine inspiration. I think Christian music, in the right hands, could really do that. So it needs to be supported also.
What are some of the ideas of what we can do to support it?
Um, it's one of those things where you just have to put it out there, and keep putting it out there, and hopefully it'll grow legs, pretty much. And there's not a one prong strategy for doing that. You've got to always reassess what's working, what's not working, and then reassess it again, pretty much. And be an outreach also to the churches, let them know, hey, this is what we're doing over here, and everything. And Song Hero, all the spotlight. Do you have someone that we could maybe put a spotlight on? Out of your church, those type of things. So we could maybe do our outreaching to the local church and say, hey, you got someone that you think we could spotlight? We would love to do it. So I see we could be a part of that also, of that strategy.
Yeah, and I said it to you live on the air right now because I want to say like the last few months really, it's kind of been really heavy on my heart where we need not only just to help the other artists who sing different genres of music,
Yeah.
but what about Christian music? And so I think that's definitely an area that I would like to get into where we can make it an even playing field for everyone. Which brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
I've interviewed so many artists throughout the years, and one of the biggest complaints I hear from the artists is the way they get paid for their music.
Wow.
It looks like I take that back. The fact is, the distribution company who plays their music makes more than the artist who actually put the music together, their talent, their ideas, and everything. And they take the music and they send it to these different distribution companies. Why is it that the music industry as a whole has not addressed this? I mean, I've had a few artists say they get paid pennies on a dollar.
Yes.
For the music that they've created. Now, with you being a record label and a music executive professional, is there anything that can be done to address this serious situation?
They have to educate themselves, basically, because pretty much, let's say for example, if their music is being tracked by Song Exchange, the actual artist has a right to 45% of the royalty that's going on through Song Exchange. So one of the things I would say they should do is make sure they have registered with Song Exchange, so they will get their royalties, because they can only collect 50% of the royalties through Song Exchange, which is one of the platforms. And the artist actually needs to create an account in Song Exchange and actually make sure that they can go out there and see if there's any royalties that may be sitting out there for them, pretty much, because they can only pull in 50% of that through Song Exchange. That's the rotations and things like that. So I think the artists have to understand what their splits legally should be, and not and just learn those things, because once you learn where the actual pie is and how it split, how it goes, you will know whether you can look in certain pockets and see if you have anything sitting out there that's going to stay out there. That's just one of the things I think that comes to mind.
Thank you for sharing that. And that's definitely some great information that we use moving forward
Right.
as we interview continue. any of you artists out there.
Mm.
All right, so here's a personal question for you.
Okay.
When you're not running the record label and you're not writing music, everything, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, I quiet my mind and then hooks come to me. So basically, it keeps me busy, and I love that because not to put this on a down note, but my mom passed like almost a year ago.
Oh, sorry about
And
that.
anyone who's lost a parent, they know how challenging that can be. And being able to indulge, go into my music and make songs and things like that, it kind of helped me through my journey that I'm still going through. But so in my spare time, basically, I relax and I enjoy each moment. And as you get older, you learn to just enjoy each moment. And some days I do nothing because that's my choice. And on the down days, I think that to me, that's when my creativity gets regenerated because you have to step away from things sometime and just let things settle and then get back to it. So every night, so on my off days, I just relax and say it's okay to do nothing today because I look at it as a farmer. Once you planted the seeds, you can't overwater the seeds. You got to plant the seeds, fertilize the seeds, and let them grow. So I call that my growth stage, where I'm just waiting for the reaps of planting the good seeds. And I say planting good seeds, I mean with my music, with the different artists that I collaborate with, anything I can do to encourage them. I'll give them a call and say, "Hey, how's it going? I'm working on the project. I have something for you in about a month, a week or so, and everything to let them know something's coming, because that may be one of their few sources of income right there is working on a project. So let them know, hey, I'm working on some things. I see some things that I think will fit you and those type things. So I stay in communication with them and try to uplift them and say, hey, you just one thing I always tell them, you're just as good as anybody out there. You know that, right? and they're like, really? I said, yes, you are. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're just as good as anybody out there. And I said, and especially to the one that likes you. you know, I say you're only for the ones that like you. That's if you think about if they think about it that way, they won't seek acknowledgement from everybody. Look, you're great to the person that thinks you're great. So keep on try to grow those people that think you're great. And the ones that don't, oh well, they're missing out.
I love it.
And
Thank
if
you
they
for
get
sharing
that
that.
attitude to keep them going, I got just find the fans, find those fans, And I was talking to Nolo. I said, Nolo, think about it. If you got like 100 fans that really like you, they're gonna tell probably 1,000 fans, and they're gonna tell some other fans. So focus on your music and getting it to the ones that truly like what you're doing. Connect with them, and they'll connect with the others. But you gotta
Oh man.
build that foundation. And I think a lot of artists are still caught up in the old way of doing things. And what that does, it limits them to the gatekeepers because they're looking for someone to come and grab them, give them a lot of money, and they never can catch up with the money and everything. I would encourage most indie artists is don't take money up front. Bet on yourself, basically. Or make sure it's a good agreement where if you are taking money, it's not going to hurt your royalties in the future, pretty much. And also, before you become a millionaire, I would say, before you become a millionaire, find a financial advisor and tell them what your plans are. That way, you will have a structure in place. So when the money starts coming in, you'll know where to send the money versus figuring out what to do with it. So envision yourself as a big time singer with all this cash flow coming in. Wow, what am I going to do with it before it happens? And if you do that, you're visualizing success before it happens. You're pushing yourself toward that.
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. As we wind down our interview this morning, what a great conversation we've had. And it's such a pleasure and
Enjoy it.
honor to have you on the show and
Thank you
also
so much.
to be a part of our family now. So welcome to the family. And so
Well,
as we wind down, is there anything that you would like to share with our audience?
just basically enjoy music, enjoy each day, and let music be a part of that day. basically. Just enjoy yourself.
I hear you. And as far as like the record label goes right now, do you have any big plans coming up for that?
I'm working on some, my biggest goal the next month or so is to get at least 10 songs released for Facundo. And they will be released in a English version and a Spanish version. So we have 3 songs already, and the project is going good. He's working on one as we speak, and he does the English version. Then we listen to it. Then I approve it. Then I say, go forth with the Spanish version, Facundo. I can't speak Spanish yet, but I told Facundo, you've inspired me to learn more Spanish. So he was thinking about that. So I will be bilingual by next year this time. Let's say it this way,
I'll get my girlfriend. I'll get my girlfriend. She speaks
Okay.
I think like 5 different languages. Wow. And she's unbelievable. She is so talented. She speaks like 5 different languages. Wow. I'm like, wow. I'm still trying to learn one.
So you don't know when you're being told off, do you?
Secretly, even though we're live on the air, no.
That's funny, man.
Hey, so you guys are located in Atlanta, one of my favorite places.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm in Atlanta. I'm in a metro area called Kennesaw, Georgia, and everything. But it's in metro Atlanta. No one stays in the heart of Atlanta. Don't let people tell you, everybody, that they stay in Atlanta. They stay in metro Atlanta. This is a county outside of Atlanta, pretty much. So that's basically what it is.
Oh, yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. And it's always a pleasure speaking to an executive in the music industry that owns a record label. I mean, that's got to be so cool and so rewardable, as you mentioned throughout the interviews. So, looking forward to working with you and so appreciate your time and definitely wish you all the best.
Right, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
All right. Again, a special thank you to Lonnie with LTJ record label. And I want to thank him personally for being on the show this morning. It's the Artist Spotlight Show being brought to you by Music Dreams USA Radio Worldwide. Also, Biker Bay Barber and Company and Table and Mike Productions up in Nashville, North Carolina. It's your friend Russell K. If you're an upcoming aspiring artist, if you're a record label owner, just like Lonnie, reach out to us. We can, that's, as you heard throughout this interview, it's a show that wants to reach the people who need exposure, who need it to be known. And that's what we do here. Send those requests to info.musicdreamsusa@gmail.com. Until the next time, it's your friend Russell K. With Music Dreams USA Radio, wishing you and yours a very pleasant good day. And thank you so much for those who are watching now. And for those who will be watching a little bit later, thank you for taking the time to support us and to listen and even watch the Artist Spotlight Show.